This is Branny D here with you once again, and well, I just wanted to say hi after all this time, so that you didn't think I had fallen off the face of the earth or anything. I also didn't want you to think that I had forgotten about you in any way. Actually, what's been going on with me lately is that I've been extremely busy working on my latest project, which is my upcoming piano DVD. I've been designing it in such a way so that it'll very easily show you how to play real songs on a piano using the fingering method that we've been studying so far. So while I expect the DVD to be a good success, it has really been taking up so much of my time, and that's the reason why I haven't heard from you in a little while. However, I have been receiving your emails, and I thought I'd show you just how much I really appreciate your enthusiasm and your support by showing you something special here today. Now, I just want to first say that this is not the authentic version of Get Piano Lesson 11. This is going to be kind of like a raw, watered-down version of the real lesson, which is going to come out later on after I release my DVD. But hopefully what I show you here today will be challenging enough to keep you occupied until I can make my DVD available to you, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a release date of about May 2009, but no, I don't really want to set any firm dates because it seems that so many unexpected things keep popping up. You know how it goes. But anyway, as you know, during the first 10 lessons of my piano course, we've been practicing our fingering exercises in only one hand position on the piano. That's the C hand position, or position number 1. But today, I'm going to finally show you what you've been probably wondering about since the very beginning of my piano course: the 6 other hand positions on the keyboard. Now, I'm not saying that there's only 7 ways to position your hands on the piano. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that for the purpose of what I teach here in my piano course, we're going to begin to learn how to move our hands across the keyboard with the use of 7 very specific hand positions. Now, why 7 hand positions? Why not 8 or 10? Well, to answer that question, I'm going to give you a quick history lesson into how the notes on the piano were actually arranged. I mean, today we know that there are only 12 notes that exist on a piano. You may have a keyboard with 49 piano keys, or 61 keys, or even a full piano with 88 keys, but you still only have 12 notes. And these 12 notes reside right here. And just so that you can see them more clearly, I'll count them out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if you look real closely, you'll see that this pattern of 12 notes repeats over the entire length of the piano keyboard. Now, once upon a time, early musicians were actually trying to figure out exactly how many musical notes there were to play. And initially, it was determined that there were only 7 basic notes. Now, these 7 basic notes that the early musicians were referring to are today what we know as the white keys on the piano. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, when they got to that 8th note, they said, wait a second, this note sounds very familiar to our first note. And then after playing them together, they were like, well, it became obvious that, you know what, these are the same notes. They're exactly the same tone. The only difference between this note, which we know is a C note, and this lower note, which is also a C note, is that this higher note has twice the frequency ratio as this lower note. But besides that, they both had the same tone. And incidentally, when we have 2 of the same tones, one higher or lower than the other, this type of spread on the piano is known as an octave. And that's something you're going to hear me say at least once or twice during this lesson. So anyway, to make a long story short, the early musicians concluded that there were indeed only 7 tones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then after the 7th sequential tone, the pattern of notes simply repeated themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the black notes were discovered later on, around the 13th century or so. And that gave us our final total of 12 distinct musical tones for the piano. Or for the violin, for the guitar, just about any musical instrument you can think of. Now that leads us back to the answer to my question about why only 7 hand positions. Because remember, our first hand position, position number 1, was based on our first note, our middle C note. Therefore, our remaining 7 hand positions will be based on our 6 remaining white keys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do right now is to join me on your keyboard at home and get your right hand into our all-familiar middle C hand position. Because this is going to be the last time you play it as your only hand position. Alright, so as we already know very well, our middle C note is the root of our first hand position. And we count it out as always like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now for our second hand position, we want to start out with the second note in the sequence of 7 white piano keys. So with our thumb starting on our second note and our other 4 fingers to the right of that note, we count it out exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is position number 2. So I think you can see where we're going with this. For our third position, we want to locate the third note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3. And again, starting with our thumb on our third note, we count it out exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is position number 3. Now again, position number 4, let's locate the fourth note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just as before, we start with our thumb on that fourth note and count it from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, position number 5, we're pinpointing the fifth note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the root of our fifth hand position, so starting with our number 1 finger, we count it from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're almost done. For our sixth hand position, we want to find our sixth note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this note is the starting point for position number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And finally, position number 7 is one of the more easier hand positions to locate because it begins with the note to the left of C. Alright, so but let's find it anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so with our thumb resting on this note and our hand in this position, our fingering still remains the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is our 7th hand position. Now incidentally, if we were to move this entire hand position over 1 white key to the right, we wouldn't be in position number 8, we'd be in position number 1. The only difference between this position number 1 and our original middle C position number 1 is that this higher position number 1 is an octave higher than our middle C position number 1. Okay, so now that we've practiced all 7 hand positions with our right hand, let's make sure we can locate all 7 positions again with our left hand. Let's start 7 white keys down from our middle C note, and we can now call it an octave down from middle C note. And we want to get our left hand in our all-familiar left hand first position. And remember, to play the same finger pattern of notes with our left hand requires a slightly different numbering sequence, which we have come to know as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, to get to our second position, we need to begin with our left little finger on our second note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. Alright, so with our left little finger starting on this note, we're now in position number 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And moving on to position number 3, let's find our third note, which is hiding amongst this 7 sequence of white notes. 1, 2, 3. Now let's place each finger on its rightful note starting from there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is our third hand position. Now for our fourth hand position, we're going to again find the correct note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll place our left little finger on this note and all other fingers resting to the right of that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is position number 4. Moving along to position number 5, we need to identify the fifth note in the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's once again begin with our little finger on this key and place all other fingers down accordingly and count it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once again, this is our fifth hand position. So I'm sure you're getting the hang of this by now. For position 6, we need to choose the sixth note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to position our hand on the keys using this as our starting point, and we're now in position number 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now for our final left hand position, we need to find our 7th note, which is the last note in the sequence of 7 white piano keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, now with our little finger starting at this point, we can arrange the rest of our fingers and find ourselves in position number 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and incidentally, if we were to move this entire hand position over to the right by 1 white note, we would again find ourselves in position number 1. The difference being that we're now an octave higher than when we first started out in our lower C hand position. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to practice and get acquainted with all 7 hand positions in both hands, let's try a few assignments where we use both hands to play finger patterns but in different hand positions. Okay, now is where we really start to apply some of those location skills we just practiced. Because now we're going to need to look at this ocean of black and white keys and instantly recognize where all the hand positions are without hesitating too much. And as long as you can find the nearest C note in comparison to the note or hand position you're trying to identify, you can quickly measure where you are on the keyboard, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Say you take your right hand, and without looking, you randomly place it down anywhere on the keyboard on any group of 5 white keys. Okay, now stop and ask yourself, which hand position am I in? Well, first make sure that all 5 of your fingers are resting on a set of 5 white piano keys, and then locate the nearest C note to the left of your location. Okay, now next count each note starting from that C note up until you reach the thumb of your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so remember that specifically within the context of this beginner piano course, the thumb is the root of any right hand position on the keyboard. So that means that since your thumb is resting on the 6th note within the sequence of 7 white piano keys, you're now in the 6th hand position. Okay, so let's try that again with the left hand. Alright, so again, without looking, place your left hand anywhere on the piano keyboard and rest your 5 fingers on any group of 5 white piano keys. Okay, so now again, stop and ask yourself, which hand position am I in? Again, make sure all 5 of your fingers are resting on a group of 5 white piano keys, and then find the nearest C note, once again to the left of your location. And then next you want to count over until you reach the left little finger of your left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, great. So again, I'm going to emphasize that for the purpose of my beginner piano course, I designate the left little finger as the root finger for any left hand position on the keyboard. So this means that because your left little finger is resting on a 4 note, you're now in the 4th hand position. And pretty soon you'll see that with enough practice, you won't even need to count up from the C note anymore. You'll just automatically know where you are and what hand position you're in on the piano. Okay, so now I'm going to lead us through a few exercises where we'll need to keep both hands in specific hand positions while we play a designated pattern of notes. Alright, so let's start this next exercise with both our hands in their customary C hand positions, with the right hand in our middle C hand position and the left hand in the C hand position just beneath that. Now let's take a look at this basic number graphic I have for us. This chart of numbers tells us what we need to play in both our right and our left hands. The blue numbers on top are the notes we need to play with our right hand, and the 2 green numbers on the bottom are the only 2 numbers we need to play with our left hand. Now this chart will not change, at least not in the beginning. What will change, however, are the keyboard positions for both hands. So if you look closely at our chart of numbers, you'll see that our right hand needs to play our basic 5-note finger run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now our left hand has the easier part here, as it only needs to play 2 notes during this string of right hand notes. We'll play 1 left hand note in the beginning, and that's 1 note at the end. That's basically all we need to play. So let's switch up to our second position, and with both hands let's play it again. Okay, so the emphasis is really not in the finger pattern itself, it's in making sure you're in the correct hand position. Okay, so let's move up to position number 3 and play it again. Okay, let's find position number 4 with both hands and continue. Okay, now position number 5. Let's move up to position number 6. Now we'll move into position number 7. And let's finish off 1 octave higher with position number 1. Okay, from here we're going to change the sequence of numbers a bit. And if you've been watching me since the beginning of my piano course, you already know that I like to go in reverse from time to time. So I'm going to give us a little extra brain challenge and play the same pattern of notes backwards. Alright, so this time our right hand is going to play 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our left hand will play 1 note in the beginning and 1 note at the end. Okay, so that was our first position, 1 octave higher than what we started out. And now we want to move down to the 7th position. Remember, the 7th position starts with the note to the left of our C note. Alright, so when both our hands are in the proper position, let's play these notes again. Okay, let's move down to the 6th position. The 5th position is next. Next we find our 4th position. Let's move down to our 3rd position. Next we move to the 2nd position. And finally finish off with position number 1. Okay, great. So that's just a little practice to get us better acquainted with the 7 hand positions using both hands together. And once you feel you can play this exercise all the way through without making any mistakes, and you're finding all the correct hand positions, then join me right now as we play this exercise all the way through using a beat. Okay, we're going to start in our original C hand positions, and we're going to go all the way up and all the way down without stopping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. Second position. Third position. Fourth position. Fifth position. Sixth position. Seventh position. And first position. Now backwards. Seventh position. Sixth position. Fifth position. Fourth position. Third position. Second position. And back to first. Okay, now that we've given our right hand a chance to busy its way through these 7 hand positions, let's give our left hand a bit more work to do. Now again, we're starting with both our hands in their original C hand positions, and as you can see from this new finger chart, our left hand will play our basic 5-note finger run. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now our right hand will take it easy this time and play only one note in the beginning and one note at the end. Okay, so that was our first position. Let's go ahead and move into our second position and play it again. Now let's find our third position and continue. Okay, moving along to our fourth position. Now let's advance to the fifth position. Sixth position is next. We're almost done with our seventh position. And let's conclude with our first position, one octave higher. Okay, so now that we've climbed the tree, it's time to make our way back down again. And yep, you guessed it, we're going in reverse this time. So here's our new finger chart, and notice that our two right hand notes have now changed so that we're playing one note in the beginning and we're playing the third note in the end. Okay, so we want to digress down to our seventh position now. Play it again. It sounds even prettier this way, I think, so let's move down to the sixth position. Next is our fifth position. Okay, let's find our fourth position. The third position is next. Second position. Finally, our first position. Okay, so now that we've got our left hand warmed up, let's play this entire exercise all the way through without stopping. If you're still having trouble locating all the different hand positions fast enough, then practice this on your own until you're ready to keep up with me as we play a little bit faster and to a beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. position, third position, fourth position, fifth position, sixth position, seventh position, and first position. Now backwards. Seventh position, sixth position, fifth position, fourth position, third position, second position, and back to first. Okay, now that we've warmed both our left and right hands up, let's continue by playing the identical finger pattern in both hands in all 7 hand positions. As you can tell by our next fingering chart, both hands are going to play the same standard 5-note finger run. Although the numbers appear different in the left and right hands, we're actually playing the same exact thing in both hands. Okay, now it's important to make sure that you're playing each identical note in each hand at the same time, so that each pair of 2 notes sound in unison. And basically what we're doing here is just playing octaves. Okay, so now that we've started in our first position, let's move up to our second position and play it again. Let's just move up to our third position. And next, our fourth position. Fifth position. Sixth position. Seventh position. And finally, our first position, 1 octave higher. Okay, now to play it in reverse, we need to change these numbers around. So even though both sets of numbers are completely different in each hand, we know that this fingering pattern sounds just like this. Okay, so let's move it down to our 7th position now. Next is our 6th position. And now down to our 5th position. 4th position. 3rd position. 2nd position. And finally our first position number 1. Alright, now if you were able to play both sets of notes in each hand in perfect synchronization while also selecting the correct hand positions for both hands, then join me right now as we play this exercise all the way through using a constant beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. Second position. Third position. Fourth position. Fifth position. Sixth position. Seventh position. And first position. Now backwards. 7th position. 6th position. 5th position. 4th position. 3rd position. 2nd position. position, and back to first. Okay, now I'm going to present you with a bit more of a challenge. And according to some of the emails I received, I understand you've been waiting quite a while for some new good material to play on the piano. So I'm going to give you exactly what you've been asking for. First, let's start with both our hands in their respective C hand positions on the keyboard. So what we're going to do now is a slight variation of the last exercise we just played. Now, you may not have realized that while both our hands is in the C hand position, we have a distance of 2 white keys in between both hands. Alright, but what I'm going to do now is close the distance between both hands, and we're going to move our left hand up to the 3rd position. Alright, the right hand will stay exactly where it is, but now notice both hands are right next to each other. So now there's no space in between both hands. So if we play the same number pattern again with both hands while we're in this position, we're going to get a very different type of sound. And that's the sound of harmony. Now our task during this exercise will be to play this number pattern in all 7 hand positions once again. However, we're going to need to keep this side-by-side hand formation. Alright, so that means that when our right hand is in the 2nd position, our left hand is going to be in the 4th position. And when we move our right hand to the 3rd position, our left hand will be in the 5th position. When our right hand's in the 4th position, our left will be in the 6th position. When we get our right hand in the 5th position, the left will move up to the 7th position. And when our right is in the 6th position, we're going to move our left to the 1st position. And finally, when we get our right hand in the 7th position, the left hand is going to be following behind in the 2nd position. Now you don't need to memorize anything I just said. All you need to know is that you need to keep your hands glued together as you make our way up and down the keyboard. Okay, so let's play this same finger pattern with our right hand now in our 2nd position, and let's move the left hand right behind it in the 4th position. Okay, now let's move our right hand to the 3rd position with the left hand falling behind in the 5th position. Next, let's get our right hand in the 4th position while our left is in the 6th position. Next, our right is in the 5th position while our left hand is in the 7th position. Next, let's get our right hand in the 6th position while our left hand is now in the 1st position. And moving along, let's get our right hand in the 7th position while the left hand is in the 2nd position. And finally, our right hand is in the 1st position again, and left hand is in the 3rd position. Now we do it backwards. Alright, so remember, we're in the 1st position with our right hand, and we're in the 3rd position with our left hand. Next, we move our right hand to the 7th position. Left hand is in the 2nd position. Next, our right hand is in the 6th position, and our left hand will be in the 1st position. Then we move our right to the 5th position, and our left is in the 7th position. Next, the right hand is in the 4th position, and the left hand is in the 6th position. Now we move our right hand to the 3rd position, and our left hand is now in the 5th position. Next, our right hand is in the 2nd position, and the right hand is in the 4th position. And finally, we place our right hand in the 1st position, and once again, left hand is in the 3rd position. Alright, now, if that seemed too complicated, or if you made any mistakes or anything like that, just try practicing this exercise on your own at a slower pace until you can get the hang of it. And when you feel ready to play this at a steadier, faster pace, just come back to this part of the video and we're going to play it together a little bit faster to a beat. Alright, we're going to start out with the right hand in our first position, left hand in the third position. But remember to listen to me closely because I'm going to quickly call out the number that each hand should be in at any given moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. Right 2, left 4. Right 3, left 5. Right 4, left 6. Right 5, left 7. Right 6, left 1. Right 7, left 2. Right 1, left 3. Now backwards. Right 7, left 2. Right 6, left 1. Right 5, left 7. Right 4, left 6. Right 3, left 5. Right 2, left 4. Right 1, left 3. Okay, so how'd you make out with that last assignment? Was that the kind of piano lesson you've been waiting for all this time? Well, if you enjoyed the musical quality as well as the added challenge in that last exercise, then I've got one more treat for you. In this next assignment, we're going to play the same type of two-handed harmonies as in our last exercise, except this time our hands are going to be further apart, much further apart. As you can see, we're going to use the same number pattern we just played. However, we're going to start off with our left hand in our standard C hand position, right below the middle C hand position. However, our right hand will begin in our third hand position. So now take a look at the distance between our hands now. This time there will be a whopping 4 white keys separating our hands this time. And we're going to maintain that spread as we play our finger pattern up and down the keyboard. Alright, so with our left hand in our lower C hand position, position 1, and our right hand in position 3, this is what our finger pattern is going to sound like. Alright, it's just a slight variation on the same harmonies we just played. Alright, so be sure you're keeping that 4-note spread between both hands as we move our right hand into the 4th position and our left hand into the 2nd position. And let's play it again. Okay, let's move our right hand into the 5th position with the left hand following behind in the 3rd position. Next, let's get a right hand in the 6th position and our left hand in the 4th position. Next, the right hand is in the 7th position, the left hand is in the 5th position. Next, the right hand is in the 1st position, left hand is in the 6th position. Okay, moving along, the right hand is in the 2nd position, while left hand is now in the 7th position. And finally, let's get our right hand in the 3rd position, while our left hand is in the 1st position again. Okay, now let's go backwards. Alright, so remember, we're in the 3rd position with the right hand and 1st position with the left hand. Now let's move our left hand to the 7th position and our right hand to the 2nd position. Now our left hand moves to the 6th position, the right hand moves to the 1st position. Next, we move our left hand to the 5th position, while our right hand is now in the 7th position. Okay, now our left hand is going to move to the 4th position, and the right hand is going to move to the 6th position. Now our left hand is in the 3rd position, while our right hand is in the 5th position. Next, our left hand is in the 2nd position, while our right hand is in the 4th position. And finally, our left hand is in the 1st position once again, and the right hand is in the 3rd position. Alright, now I know the actual movement of your fingers is not going to be too much trouble for you, since we've been doing these kind of double-handed exercises for at least the last few piano lessons. But if you have any trouble finding the correct hand positions in either hand, then just practice this exercise as slow as you need to, or even try one hand at a time until you're able to keep pace with this next exercise, because now we're going to play it a little faster and we're going to use a beat. Right? And remember, listen closely, because I'm going to quickly call out the number each hand should be in. Okay, so we're starting with the left hand in the 1st position and the right hand in the 3rd position. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and left 2, right 4. Left 3, right 5. Left 4, right 6. Left 5, right 7. Left 6, right 1. Left 7, right 2. Left 1, right 3. And backwards. Left 7, right 2. Left 6, right 1. Left 5, right 7. Left 4, right 6. Left 3, right 5. Left 2, right 4. Left 1, right 3. Well, now that you know where all the hand positions are, at least the ones we'll be working with, you can now go ahead and experiment with any of our previous finger exercises by playing them in different hand positions on the keyboard. For example, we had a finger pattern where both our hands were playing this sequence of notes in our 1st position. But did you know that without changing even a single note in this number sequence, we get a totally different sound if you play this finger chart in the 5th position? And you can move it anywhere. You know, I mean, even if you play it in, say, the 4th position, it sounds even more different yet again. So, hey, I encourage you, get creative with some of the stuff we've done in the past. You might be really surprised at how different things can sound in other locations on the keyboard. Aside from that, I hope you really enjoyed my little interim video lesson. As I said earlier, this is not the official version of Lesson 11. But I hope it gave you enough new material to keep you occupied for the time being. Just know there's a lot going on behind the scenes here that has yet to be revealed. As I said earlier, the major project I'm working on right now is my piano DVD, and I'm almost done finishing the footage for it, but then after that I need to move into manufacturing, you know, so still there's some work that needs to be done. But I promise you, this thing is going to be hot. This is something I've been working on very hard, and if you've enjoyed the lessons you've been watching here and on my website, you're absolutely going to be blown away by what I show you on this DVD. As a matter of fact, listen to this song coming up next, because this is just one of the piano songs you're going to learn how to play when you get your hands on my DVD. Alright, so on that note, enjoy what you're listening to now, and I promise I'll see you again real soon. Bye now.